For today's devotion, I'm going to take us to Psalm, the 8th Psalm, and I'm going to read for you from the English Standard Version. The 8th Psalm begins with, O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and infants, you have established strength because of your foes, to still the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him? You have made him a little lower than the heavenly things, the heavenly beings, and crowned him with glory and honor. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the heavens, and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the seas. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. This is a wonderful little psalm that has been used to make quite a few hymns and or choruses that the church has sung forever. It was a psalm written by David for the choir master, so it was intended to be sung. But what was the purpose of this psalm? Why were we going to make it a song that we would sing? Well, one of the things to note of this psalm is it begins with, O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. And it ends with, O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. That's just like many of our hymns and many of our choruses. They have a repeat phrase that happens. In this particular instance, that repeat phrase is, O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. And that truly is something for us to sit and ponder. How majestic is the name of Yahweh? How majestic is God, the creator of the universe, the creator of all things? How majestic is he? That's a question that's being asked, but it's also a statement that's being declared. How majestic is your name? Now we go on to clarify some of this on how majestic it is. In verse 1 it says, you have set your glory above the heavens. Verse 2, out of the mouths of babies and infants you have established strength because of your foes, to still the enemy and the avenger. Now there's a couple of minor things here that I just want to point out. He has set his majesty in the glory up in the heavens. That would be the sun, the moon, and the stars, things that were created at the very first of all creation. And God set them there to display light to the earth, but also to display his majesty over all things. Especially if we think about the sun and the stars and the moon. The sun and stars are balls of gas that are burning constantly and setting off energy and power and light. They are amazing things. They burn hotter than anything that we have ever experienced here on earth. They have eruptions that continually happen. They have power that's amazing, but that power is contained to provide light and to set off that light. And that light, even traveling at 186,000 miles per hour, makes its way to the earth. And when it makes its way to the earth, there is so much power in that light, so much power still from the heated gases of the sun, that that light provides warmth to our earth. And an amazing thing about our earth is this fact. If our earth were any closer to the sun, we would be a desolate, dry, arid place because of the heat that's put off. If it was any further from the sun, then the light would lose some of its heat and we'd end up being a hard rock of ice. But God put us in the perfect place so that when the light hits us from the sun, it warms us, it provides growth to plants, it provides just the right mix of what we need for life here on earth, for the right temperatures. And then in the verse 2 it said, out of the mouths of babes and infants you have established strength because of your foes to still the enemy and the avenger. What he's basically saying is, even the small infants and babies will glorify God. And there's strength that comes from that glory. And glory in God allows us to have victory over all of our foes and our enemies. Now, I thought about this, especially in the fact of infants, because we've got little Ivy, our new granddaughter, and she is just an amazing young child. She's starting to crawl right now. But she laughs, she smiles, now she crawls and investigates. And in everything that takes place, it reminds me of God in His creation, of God creating babies, humans, and creating them with an insatiable desire to learn and to explore and to understand their surroundings. As we go on, it says in verse 3, when I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him? Again, it's having us look at the glory that God has placed in the heavens with the sun, the moon, and the stars. But it's making a new reference here. It's saying as you look at those things and start to consider them, then the psalmist says, what is man that you are mindful of him? Man is lowly and insignificant. We, humans, are lowly and insignificant. We pale in comparison to the wonders of what God has created in the sun, in the stars, in the moon. What is man that he is mindful of us? Verse 5 says, God, you have made man a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him with glory and honor. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and all oxen, also the beasts of the fields, the birds of the heavens, and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the sea. What the psalmist is declaring here is the fact that man is insignificant. And why does God even give him a consideration? Man, you are insignificant, yet God pays attention to you. And not only does he pay attention to you, but it says that we are made just lower than the heavenly beings. That's the angels. We are crowned with glory and honor that God gives us. And we are given power and authority and dominion over the works of God's hands. Have you ever thought about that? God created all things. God is amazing in what he created. And then he took insignificant man and made him the caretaker of all that God had created. We need to consider that, and we need to think about that, especially when we are given the care of all living things on earth. We need to do our best to take care of them. So after we're thinking about this, after we've seen the glory and the wonder of God and all his mighty works, we know that he's made all the creatures, all the birds, all the fish, all the livestock, all the beasts of the fields, everything he has made. He also made man. And he then gave man dominion over all of this, even though man is insignificant. And so we come back to that concept of, O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name. We need to consider that. We need to consider how majestic God is. God who gave us authority and dominion. He's the one who's majestic, not us. We're only a created being. We're not the creator. When we come back together to worship and song, let's keep in mind these songs from the Psalms. And let's sing with gusto, O Lord our Lord, how majestic is thy name in all the earth. God bless. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Take care. Goodbye.